The first order of business is the Golden State Warriors and the one and only Steph Curry. They've got problems, ladies and gentlemen. They've got big problems. We got to get started with the NBA, okay? Because the Warriors are in a fight to make the play-in, leading Houston, as in the Houston Rockets, by just one game for the final spot. The Rockets, in case y'all have missed it, have won 8 straight games. By the way, this is bad news for Klay Thompson, because when you look at the Rockets and they're threatening to get into the play-in at the expense of the Golden State Warriors, Klay Thompson is now coming off the bench and in the final year of his contract. So it's a contract year approaching, all right? As of last night, some of the observers questioned head coach Steve Kerr, who decided to only play Steph Curry 30 minutes in a 114-110 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Before I get into any of that, here's what Steph Curry had to say about all of that.
I want to play as many minutes as I'm fresh and able to. They were just going on a run. The league was kind of withering away. So, we played the whole fourth quarter against Indiana. Didn't work out. This didn't work out. So we got to find somewhere in the middle.
I got something to say. I truly, truly do. But it wouldn't be fair if I spoke before we heard from Steve Kerr himself, who defended Stephen Curry's low minute total, saying, quote, "We're trying to keep him around 30 minutes, trying to get him as much rest as we can. As long as we're hanging in there, then we wanted to limit the minutes a little bit. If you want to say that him playing 30 minutes instead of 32 was the difference in the win or the loss, I totally disagree with that," end quote. I can't disagree with Steve Kerr. First of all, let's understand something. 2 minutes does not make that big of a difference. Secondly, Steve Kerr is a 4-time champion as the head coach. He's guided them to six title appearances in 8 years. The man is a hell of a coach. He's one of the top 5 coaches in the history of basketball. I'm not going to get on him about that, but what I will say is this. Desperate times are desperate measures. And let me be very, very clear about what I'm about to say. The dynasty is over. Change is coming. There's no way that Joe Lacob, the owner, Peter Guber, the owner for the Golden State Warriors, is going to sit here and tolerate what we've been witnessing this year. They're a mediocre team. They're a mediocre team, and they're not in Big D like everybody wants to say when I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Mediocre team in Big D. No. They ain't Golden State. And the reality of the situation is they've been suspect all year long. Steph Curry hasn't. He is still a superstar in this game. And I don't blame Steve Kerr for wanting to protect him and not run him into the ground. I don't blame Steve Kerr for demanding that somebody else step up and show a pulse and show that they can produce. We watched this team coming on this year a little bit early in the season. We saw Andrew Wiggins. We said, when's he going to get going? We saw Klay Thompson. He was shooting a career low 41% from the field, 37% from three-point range, which, by the way, are numbers that most teams would want from a wing player, considering how some of these brothers simply can't shoot. But this is Klay Thompson we're talking about here, one of the top 5 greatest shooters in the history of game. He's been struggling all year long in terms of consistency. One game he explodes, another game he disappears. That's problematic. Draymond Green, forget the suspension and his time away. We know that was bad. But we also know that when he's on the court, he elevates them defensively, but he can be a liability offensively. And what we have witnessed now, as far as I'm concerned, is the ascension that nobody's been talking about. Because I got news for you. This is a shocker. It might be a shocker to y'all. I don't give a damn right now about the Golden State Warriors. I care about Steph Curry because he's the greatest shooter God ever created. I care about Steph Curry because he's a superstar in this league. And we all know that when that brother's on the basketball court, he's a box office attraction. He makes big things happen. And who knows what he could do in a play-in tournament with a 1 game on the line for the season and a playoff series. We know what Steph Curry can do. He's a 4-time champion.